Okay, so let me continue on where we left off with it. So I show you where to get the dimension of the graphics with it, how you get the graphics inside of this thing with it as well. So coming over to your visual code, for the time being in here, you will leave that with it as well, because this will allow you to go into the forward slash with it. But once you finish with this file, I want you to remove this before we upload it to the server. Remember now, this is on your virtual desktop computer with it, right? So you're making changes on here with it. All right. So this is the first row. Again, you haven't written the with it as well. So this is what it looks like right now. We're going to actually move. We're going to write our definitions right here, right now with it. So how do we do that? So let's get this thing aligned here in a second here. So I just want to show you this. As long as everything comes on the screen, now we arrange things with it as well. So let's come up here and into the body, out of the body, and I want you to go between the head section. Place your cursor after the closing tag of the title. After it, hit enter for me. This is where you're going to come in. You're going to actually write your what's called embed your embedded CSS at this time with it as well. So bear with me in this in some of these lingo. You start out with style. Oh gosh, my apology. You start with style tag, because this is everything starts out with a style tag inside of this. So hit enter with it, and you come up to the top inside of this thing with it. We're going to start to do some definition. I call it definitions. As a simple way is this is how you write your definition to each of the tags. And you start out with everything with an asterisk. My apology here as well. So as an asterisk. And asterisk is a wildcard. A wildcard means everything inside this bracket, inside of this right now, I want it to actually to look like, put everything in a box that we can resize this thing with it. So it's left and right curly brackets with it. We're going to do box sizing, and we're going to actually border tab and border box with it, right? So that's one thing we're going to do. The second thing we need to do is I want you to come down. Every time when I want to use a body tag, body, all right, I want the margin to be 0, meaning pushing up against the browser. I like the margin to be 0. And the font, we're going to use the font family. This right here, use the IntelliSense with it. Arial. So if Arial is not available, we're going to use Helvetica. If Helvetica is not available, we're going to use sans serif. So let's start with something simple with that. All right. Inside of that, here's the third definition with this thing, is the container. We start out with the word class down here. Remember this? So here is class, which up in the definition, you're going to do what's called a dot. We're going to call that row, okay? But in this case, we're going to do class container. This is what you coded down here. So you're going to write the definition. Anything that starts out with a class, we do a dot syntax, and we're going to do container. Same spelling. Make sure you have the same spelling. And you notice everything is put left and right curly brackets like the boundaries. And we do padding. Bear with me. And we're going to do a padding of the container 64 px, short for pixel. All right. Now, just bear with me in some of the stuff that I'm giving you right now with it. We're going to do dot row colon after, right? Dot row colon after with it. Left curly bracket with it. So we're going to do the content. Let's put a quote here as a no display table clear both with it. Okay, so again, bear with me in some of this thing. What this is saying is that after the row class, I want you to clear the entire table. We're going to start a new row. That's what this particular definition does with it as well. Place your cursor after that. You notice how I have everything indented in with it. Next one is going to be the column class. Remember that column 25 and column 75 that we gave a definition of with it. Here he goes. So this is the column 75 that we wrote down at the bottom down there with it. So I want everything to float left to the left. I want the width. So if I call this thing column 75, what do you think I'll give the width? I'm going to give the width 75%. Okay. All right. And I'm going to give a padding of 20 pixel. Again, you have to type everything the same thing. Notice the syntax here, how the color code is different. If any of the semicolon is left out, it's not going to work. You got to have the exact same spelling, exact same syntax is what I have here with it. Another one that we're going to actually do is we did a column, a dot syntax, a class, column dash 25. Remember that one? So we have to write the definition for that one with it. So I'm going to do column float, still float to the left, come to the right, hit enter. I'm going to do a width. This time it's going to be 25. Make sure you put the units on here, 25% on there. And then we're going to actually do a padding, same size padding as the 20 pixel padding, 20 px. Okay? With it. So if you have what I have right now with it, and the way how things work with it, you can play with it a little bit and kind of see how things work with it. Let's save. Let's try this. Let's try this. Save. Command S. Save, and open up your browser for me, because you do have. You see how this. We're gonna go in again. This is your first web page with it. Let's use this index page right here. Port 5500, go live with it. Okay, and you can see this is what you see how the logo get moved over here this time with it. You're going to put graphics in your logo in here with it. This text, this is 25, and this is the 75 with it as well. We're going to do the same thing. As for the first row is the banner, I feel more comfortable putting. Maybe I should stick to this as the 66 over here, and this. Let's make this 33. So let's do that. Let's do that. We got time and room here with this. Well, so let's do this. So let me copy this definition, and I want to copy. I want to do the same thing. Paste that down here. I'm going to change this to 66. I'm going to change this to 33 because I don't want it to look the same thing with it. Let's do 66.66666. And let's change this to 33.3333. Okay, 5 3s, 5 6 with it. If I did this right here with it, here's what I'd like for you to do. Let's change that column. Let's do this thing. The first one is 33, and it's called this thing 66 in here with it. So this is the banner I just changed in here with it. I'm going to do save with it, and I'm going to come and look at our content on here. As you can see, this kind of moved it a little bit more center here, our logo, and this is our banner section up here with. Okay, let's work on this section right here. This is the text. I need to move this graphics up here with it as well. So okay, so we need to move this graphics to over here a little bit with it. Let's see what's going on with that. So in our second row, with it, we haven't done this. This is the first row that we looked at it. So let's see what's going on here. This is our div tag for our entire row with it, right? Here's our row, class 75. Okay, this is the class, the column. I misspelled column. You see that? It's supposed to be column with an N here. Again, Control S, save that. Let's look at our browser with it. I've left out that N. So this part right here is the 75%, and this is the 25% graphics. You see how I just moved that over with it? Okay, so we're going to alternate this by flipping this, putting this graphics now. We're going to put another piece of graphics down here, and we're going to put the description over here with it. Does that make sense? All right, let's try this. So again, this is the first row, right? So let's copy that line right here. Copy that line right there. We're gonna, since we have that, copy that, and I'm gonna place my cursor after the container. This is the container right here. For me, is line 67. Hit Enter. Command V. Change that to, instead of first, now we do second row below the first row. Okay. All right. Now I'll place my cursor at the end of that. Hit Enter with it. I'm still going to copy. No, I'm not going to copy. Let me do this. Let me do a div tag, and I'm going to do container. I'm going to do class, and you notice my IntelliSense pops up. It tells me that I'm going to select that container class that we just did, right? Come to the right of that. This time we're going to flip. This time I'm going to take this part right here. I'm going to change up this image, of course, with it, right? But I want the 25 to come in first with it, right? So I'm going to copy the 25. Let me do this. Copy. Place my cursor inside of that. Paste that in there with it. Hit Enter. Now I want to copy this part, is the 75, this part. Now let's save this so you can see what I'm talking about right now with it. So go to your browser, and you see how the two images got switched over. This is now the second row. This is now the second row, but I don't, like I said, we need to change up the other image with it, right? And the text with it as well. So let's come back to your visual code right now with it. And I'm going to remove this image right here with it. Let me back out here. Remember what the // did? Go inside your module and go inside your image. We're going to do the image 132 that JPEG with it, and this is another image. So I'm going to say, a beautiful, a beautiful art sculpture. Okay, and you can actually, write a little bit more about what your artwork is. In your case, what you will need to put here. All right, so let me just clarify with what you will put here. You will use the same thing, but when you develop your own content with it, I want you to write about your module 1, module 2, your sculpture, your vector, put in some of your vector, your video, all that stuff. Let's go here with it. Save this. Let's go to the browser. And you can see how this image got changed over here, right? And I changed this to a beautiful art sculpture, and I gave a description with that as well. Again, you can see this is the row that we changed it. We changed it here as well with it. Again, you can make it a little closer. Again, the third row is going to be the same code as this first row. You agree? So the third row is this row that we're putting in right now. On the containers can be, so it'd be very easy if we can go back to this part right here. So I'm going to document. I want to take this right here, this second row below this, copy that document right there, place it after my div tag right here, paste it. I want to say second row, remove that. I'm going to say third row below the second row. Okay, So of course I didn't count the banner rows, different, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the content of the first row, highlight that from div to div, div to div, copy that, all right? Come down here after that. I'm going to actually change the image here. Change that / module 6. Change that to image. And we're going to insert an image 0186. And then I want, again, this is just, I have to change all this text right here as well with it. A Japanese botanical, I don't know, garden. Okay. Description of flower, of my flower, whatever it is that that you want to put in here with it. So Command S saves it with it. Again, this alternates between 25 and 75, 75 to 25, and down to back to 75 to that with it. So I save this file, and then I'm going to open up my. You can see, well, what happened? Well, this thing got put inside of my. Let's see what's going on here. We messed up here, so all of this needs to be put in. We need to fix this in a second here. Let's see what's going on. I misspelled something probably. So let me pause the video. It's getting on 16 minutes right now with it, and we'll continue at the next segment with it.